Tai Domi, aka the Albanian Assassin. Domi's highest point total in the season was 29 points in the 2002-2003 season.
What if I told you there was an NHL player who was considered too small to be an enforcer, but still became one of the toughest fighters in hockey history? A player who was only 5 feet 10 inches tall, yet racked up over 3,500 penalty minutes during his career? A player who was passed over multiple times but ended up playing for 16 seasons in the NHL, outlasting virtually every enforcer of his generation. This player is, of course, none other than Tai Domi. If you're ready to discover how this undersized fighter dominated the NHL, hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's see how Tai Domi's incredible journey began. Despite his size, we need to go back to Windsor, Ontario in the early 1980s. Growing up as the son of Albanian immigrants, Domi learned from an early age that he would have to fight harder than everyone else to make it. Standing nearly half a foot shorter than the typical NHL enforcer, Domi had all the odds stacked against him from the start. But what he lacked in height, he made up for with heart, determination, and an unmatched willingness to take on any opponent regardless of their size. Throughout his teenage years in Windsor, Domi played for the Windsor Spitfires in the Ontario Hockey League, where he quickly realized that his path to professional hockey wouldn't be through scoring goals. Instead, he had to make his presence felt in other ways. While most players his size tried to be speedy playmakers, Domi took a completely different approach. He started fighting bigger players and winning. His junior coach, Tom Webster, saw something special in Domi's fearlessness and taught him the key to fighting bigger opponents. Get in close, stay low, and use your leverage. With Tai, I never had to tell him to be tougher, Webster once said. I had to tell him to pick his spots better. Domi developed a unique fighting style where he would use his lower center of gravity to his advantage. He learned to grab onto his opponent's jersey, pull them close to take away their reach advantage, and throw rapid punches from a stable position. This technique would become his trademark in the NHL, allowing him to take on men who towered over him. He also spent countless hours working with local boxing trainers, learning proper punching technique and how to absorb blows without getting seriously hurt. By his final year in junior hockey, Domi had accumulated over 292 penalty minutes, while still contributing 22 goals, showing he could play the game too. Despite his growing reputation as a fearless fighter, NHL teams were hesitant to draft someone his size for an enforcer role. When the 1988 NHL entry draft came around, Domi had to wait until the second round, before the Toronto Maple Leafs finally called his name as the 27th overall pick. Many scouts considered this a reach, believing Domi would never survive the physical demands of being an NHL enforcer. Some scouts doubted his ability due to his size, but there is no record of a specific quote saying, "He's got the heart of a lion but the frame of a middleweight. The heavyweights in the NHL will eat him alive." The Maple Leafs initially assigned Domi to their minor league affiliate, the Newmarket Saints. His first professional season was a wake-up call. While Domi could intimidate players in junior hockey, professional enforcers were a different breed, bigger, stronger, and more experienced. In his first few fights, Domi took some brutal beatings but kept coming back for more. He refused to back down regardless of the opponent's size. By the end of his first professional season, he had earned the respect of teammates and opponents alike, racking up an astonishing 285 penalty minutes in just 57 games. After a brief stint with Toronto, Domi was traded to the New York Rangers, where he would finally get his real shot at the NHL. His first full season in the NHL wasn't easy. Veterans would target him, trying to expose his size disadvantage. But with each passing game, Domi proved the doubters wrong. "Everyone told me I was too small to be an enforcer in this league," Domi later recalled. "But I figured if I was crazy enough to fight anybody and never back down, size wouldn't matter. Fear is what beats you in a fight, not size. I made sure nobody ever saw fear in my eyes, even when I was terrified." After finishing the year with the Toronto Maple Leafs farm team, Domi was looking forward to a promising career. However, his first full season in the NHL was a harsh wake-up call. Despite his fighting spirit, teams kept trading him around. The Maple Leafs sent him to the Rangers in 1990, and then he bounced to the Winnipeg Jets. Many critics believed his size would eventually catch up to him, as most NHL enforcers were over 6 feet tall and outweighed him by 30 to 40 pounds. With every challenging fight, questions arose about whether he could last in the league. Domi faced tough opponents, including Stu Grimson, nicknamed the Grim Reaper, who stood 6 feet 5 inches and had a significant size advantage. While facing such giants, Domi realized that to survive as an undersized enforcer, he needed to change his strategy. "I knew I couldn't just go toe-to-toe with these giants. I had to be smarter, quicker, and tougher than they were," Domi later said. It wasn't about winning every fight. It was about showing up for every fight, no matter who it was against. He began training differently, focusing on explosive strength and a lower center of gravity. He worked with boxing coaches to improve his technique, learning to throw devastating uppercuts from his shorter stature, rather than trying to match the reach of taller opponents. The results were immediate. He started winning fights against men much larger than himself, and his reputation began to grow. Domi's breakthrough moment came during a notable fight against Rob Ray, one of the league's premier fighters. The fight showcased Domi's ability to take on larger opponents and earned him recognition across the hockey world. Almost overnight, Domi went from being viewed as an undersized enforcer to one of the most feared men in hockey. When Domi returned to the Maple Leafs, he was no longer just another tough guy, he was a key figure in the team's dynamics. His presence on the ice immediately changed how opponents approached games against Toronto. Teams that had previously taken liberties with Maple Leaf stars now thought twice, knowing Domi would make them answer for any cheap shots. What made Domi truly unique was his fighting style. Unlike other enforcers who relied on reach and weight, Domi fought like a pit bull, getting in close, throwing rapid-fire punches, and never backing down. He developed a signature move where he would grab his opponent's jersey with his left hand, pull them off balance, and deliver punishing right hands before they could set their feet. By the late 1990s, Domi had become such an integral part of the Maple Leafs that the team valued him for his physical presence and protection of teammates. His worth wasn't measured in goals or assists, but in the space and safety he created for teammates. From 1995 to 2002, Domi amassed over 200 fights and more than 1,800 penalty minutes, a stretch where he averaged a fight every few games. During this period, the Maple Leafs made the playoffs multiple times, with Domi's physicality being a key factor in their postseason success. Tai was the kind of teammate everyone wants, as described by those who played with him. He'd do anything for the team, take on anyone, regardless of size. There were guys who were bigger, guys who were stronger, but nobody had more heart than Tai Domi. Domi's impact on the Maple Leafs went far beyond just winning fights. He created a shield of protection around star players like Mats Sundin, giving them the space they needed to score goals without worrying about cheap shots. Domi was known for defending his teammates, and his presence made opponents think twice before taking liberties. In the locker room, Domi was the heart and soul of the team. Despite his tough guy image, he was known for keeping spirits high during losing streaks with his constant jokes and pranks. He'd often hide teammates' equipment before practice or fill their gloves with shaving cream. But when times got tough, he was also the first to speak up and hold everyone accountable. What made Domi truly remarkable was his staying power. While the average NHL enforcer's career lasted just 4 to 5 seasons, due to the physical toll of fighting, Domi played for an incredible 16 years. By the time he retired in 2006, nearly every enforcer who had entered the league with him was long gone. Bob Probert, Marty McSorley, Stu Grimson, all these bigger, stronger fighters had hung up their skates while Domi kept going. The secret to his longevity was simple. He took care of his body like few others did. While many enforcers partied hard off the ice, Domi maintained a strict training regimen and diet, allowing him to recover faster from fights and injury. His close friendship with Mario Lemieux showed another side of Domi that fans rarely saw. Despite being opponents on the ice, the two became best friends off it, with Domi even serving as godfather to one of Lemieux's children. This relationship helped Domi see the bigger picture beyond hockey and gave him balance during the toughest parts of his career. When Lemieux returned from retirement in 2000, Domi was one of the first people he called with the news. While other fighters were being forced out of the game by injuries or declining skills, Domi adapted as he got older, becoming smarter about when to fight and developing other aspects of his game. His fight totals actually decreased in his 30s, but his effectiveness remained the same. His ability to evolve from a one-dimensional enforcer into a valuable fourth-line player who could still drop the gloves when needed was a key reason he outlasted his contemporaries. Throughout his career, Domi was involved in several memorable fights, including those with Bob Probert, considered by many to be one of the greatest hockey fighters of all time. Their battles were legendary, with both men earning respect from each other and the hockey world. One of their most notable fights took place in 1992, where Domi fought Probert to a draw, earning respect from even his harshest critics. What surprised many fans was that Domi wasn't just a fighter. During the 1997-98 season, he scored a career-high 13 goals, showing unexpected offensive touch for an enforcer. "I always knew I could do more than just fight," Domi said, "but I understood my role was to protect my teammates first." He had several memorable goals, including ones that showcased his skill beyond fighting. In the playoffs, Domi elevated his game beyond just physical play. He scored crucial goals in series against various opponents, helping his team advance. His discipline in avoiding unnecessary penalties was also crucial, as he knew when to hold back and conserve energy for protecting teammates when it truly mattered. Domi's rivalries were legendary, and he developed a mutual respect with many opponents. He had a notable rivalry with Matthew Barnaby of the Buffalo Sabres, with the two frequently clashing on the ice. Despite their intense battles, Domi earned admiration from those he faced on the ice. Beyond the fights and goals, Domi defined his career through charitable work. After meeting a young fan with cancer in 1995, he started regularly visiting children's hospitals without cameras or publicity. He was deeply involved in charitable efforts, particularly for children's charities in the Toronto area. "Hockey was my job," Domi later said, "but helping kids was my purpose." As Domi entered his mid-30s, an age when most enforcers had long retired, he found new ways to stay relevant. His fighting technique evolved from wild brawling to a more strategic approach. During the 2003-04 season, at age 34, Domi still racked up 208 penalty minutes while playing all 82 games. Remarkable durability for a player in his role. The secret to his longevity wasn't just physical, it was mental. Domi maintained a strong work ethic and dedication to his craft, which allowed him to outlast his contemporaries. By 2004, Domi was one of the last true enforcers from his generation still playing. Names like Tony Twist, Gino Udjic, and Troy Crowder, all larger men who had been considered more intimidating, had faded away years earlier. Of the 20 players who led the NHL in penalty minutes during Domi's rookie season, he was the only one still active. Domi took younger enforcers under his wing, teaching them the unwritten rules of hockey fighting. He emphasized the importance of standing up for teammates and being prepared every night. When the NHL returned from the 2005 lockout with new rules favoring speed over physicality, Domi adapted once again, reducing his penalty minutes while still maintaining his presence. Domi finished his career with numbers that tell the story of a player who defied expectations. His 3,515 career penalty minutes ranked third in NHL history. He played 1,020 regular season games, a remarkable achievement for an undersized enforcer who fought over 300 times. Perhaps most impressive was his 104 goals and 245 points. Solid numbers for a player whose primary job was protection. What made Domi truly special was how he changed the perception of what an enforcer could be. Before him, enforcers were almost exclusively the biggest, tallest players available. Standing at 5 feet 10 inches, Domi proved that heart, technique, and sheer will could overcome physical disadvantages. Pound for pound, Tai Domi was the toughest player I ever faced, said Georges Laraque, a 6'3" enforcer. What he gave up in size, he made up for in courage. Domi became a fan favorite because of his personality and work ethic. "I never saw myself as just a fighter," Domi said in his retirement speech. "I was a hockey player who happened to fight. I took pride in every shift, whether I dropped the gloves or not." The critics who said he was too small were proven decisively wrong. Not only did Domi carve out a 16-year NHL career, but he became one of the most respected players of his era. "Nobody gave Tai a chance when he came into the league," said Don Cherry. "Everyone said he was too small to be an enforcer. 16 years and 3,000 penalty minutes later, I think he proved them all wrong. Fighting was always part of hockey, but Tai showed there was an art to it," said former referee Kerry Fraser. "He understood when to fight, who to fight, and why to fight. It was never random with him. It always served a purpose for his team." This strategic approach is perhaps Domi's greatest legacy, showing that even in the rough and tumble world of NHL enforcers, brains could triumph over brawn. Tai Domi wasn't supposed to make it in the NHL, but his heart and determination proved everyone wrong. From undersized fighter to respected veteran, his story shows that sometimes the toughest battles are won by those with the most to prove. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.